Hello, hello, hello. It is absolutely gorgeous to have you here. So, Samantha Harwood
Hi.
from Harwood Consulting, I believe.
Yeah.
And this conversation comes after, oh, I just had a cracking one. I've just been in conversation with the lovely Liz Peely about
Mm.
motherhood and
Oh,
that transition back to work. It's
yes.
been absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pumped. And although I'm always excited, obviously I'm excited to be with you, my love, because we are recent discoveries, aren't we?
We
My
are.
fellow woman in tech.
Absolutely, we
Do you
are.
want to do a little introduction for
I
me?
can do, yes. So, my name's Samantha. It's really lovely to meet everybody who is watching today. I have had a 20-year career in technology after doing a degree in computer science and mathematics. Um,
Heavy
I,
duty.
what, sorry?
That's heavy duty. Good work.
No, no, not if you were raised like that. My
Right.
father most definitely wanted a son, and I know he's going to watch this. So, um, I was raised very much with the idea of Lego was the toys to play with. I loved it,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
thrived on it. I got taught every mathematical principle, love it. And I had people like, "What? But you that doesn't make any sense. Why would you love all that kind of stuff?" And I really, really do. I totally geek out on it. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
So where have you
recently,
found yourself now?
yeah, recently set up a company. Still kind of terrified by the idea, to be honest with you. But I got made redundant last year. I chose that rather than to reapply for another role, and it's been really empowering and also really scary. But I'm really loving bringing like my tech knowledge, a bit of my people knowledge, a bit of
Yeah.
diversity to everything that I can do and meet amazing people like yourself.
Oh, you're too kind. But you've moved away from corporate, haven't you?
I
And
have.
entered the world of the business owner, the entrepreneur. So that's going to obviously have an effect. It's going to flavor our conversations, I reckon.
I
But
suspect.
let's talk about being women in tech for a sec. 20 years, yeah,
Yeah.
same. And one of the phenomenons that I've definitely noticed is that it's sometimes really difficult for women to identify as being in technology if they aren't just coders.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's different flavors of women in tech. Are you in deep tech
Yeah.
or are you a peripheral helper?
I
And it's
don't know that it matters though. What?
no, no, but it has very much been landed at my door. The word technical
Mm.
has been a very, very prominent word throughout my career. And I've had a lot of people tell me that you are not technical. And I actually had that one of the lowest moments of my life. I had a senior leader turn around to me and said, "But you're not technical." And I actually made a career change
Wow.
away from being a coder, away from being deeply involved in implementations to doing something a little bit more peripheral around the edge. I went into IT security, realized that I did not like that. Operational risk and things like that was not
Okay.
for me. And then found my way a lot more back towards the tech, but never was able to get back into the coding again. I was told many times if you want to get back into coding, you'd have to take a demotion to get there. And I don't think any of my male colleagues who had been in similar positions
Yeah.
would have been told that. And it was bizarre. And I
Yeah.
didn't really realize at the time what I should have been fighting for.
Yeah, no, it's difficult to know. As it's happening to you, it's not immediately obvious. I've had the advantage of working for myself, and so I can dip in and out anytime I like. And then it also puts me in this position from the outside where I go up to him and go, "Yeah, you're absolutely a woman in tech." And I love because every now and then, particularly now, times have changed,
Mm.
and so I'll often be in rooms where yeah, that's not even a question.
Yes,
We work, we're in
yes,
technology, we're female. This is how
yes.
it works.
Yes. And the assumptions that are made, I often start a conversation with somebody and they will assume that I have no knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and say, "Well, yeah, I gave a talk on quantum computing at a conference last week. And, oh, yeah, I've programmed in that programming language." And they're like, oh. And it's fascinating how your physical appearance can impact that. And I once did a talk called You Are Technical, and put a lot of pictures in front of people and said, okay, which one's more technical, left or right? And it was fascinating going through this. And we determined that a coder looks like a white man in his 30s with a man bun. It's got to have a man bun and glasses.
Interesting. Yeah, we do have these kind of, are they stereotypes? Yeah, I suppose they are stereotypes, but we have these views, don't we? And I think that probably ties into the concept that I come across a lot, which is that technology is difficult. Technology is somehow terrifying, or that we can all do horrific things with technology, and that ties in so well with Digital Wellbeing Week. Do you meet people who say, oh no, I'm not, I'm a technophobe, or I'm not technical? You just told me you did, but they're just, it's a lack of confidence, isn't it?
It is, but it's where you see yourself, because the word technical is a really fascinating one. But also, would you want a computer scientist designing a rocket ship? And do you want somebody who can design a rocket ship being a computer scientist? No, but they're both technical, right?
Yeah.
So why exclude yourself from a group? And it doesn't matter whether it's technology or whether it's something completely different. And I'm sure men have the same challenge, but for example, in nursing or working with young kids, nothing should be excluding anybody. And as people, we've got to include ourselves in conversations and give excuses for people to include us rather than to exclude us.
Yeah, I mean, I know from anecdotal evidence and conversations that men find it very difficult in technology as well, when we get to that point where certain knowledge is valuable and certain knowledge isn't valuable. So very, very code-based vocabulary that's being used. It's like used as a cachet. It's like used as a value statement, and the in-jokes that you have to understand, and that it's interesting. So I mean, I don't know that it's fully gendered, but I definitely know that the genders experience it differently, for sure.
But even culturally, there's so much. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people who've come from India. They've got a very much more balanced gender approach to like their education system when it comes to technologists. And I find a lot of people, when they come over, there's this cultural shock, and then we're not inclusive. As a technology department, are we making sure that we are working and talking in a way that actually incorporates everybody who we're working with?
I know, because an awful lot of the identities at work are by exclusion. We are in this group because we've excluded this group, and that gets so difficult when that touches upon boundaries that stop people living authentically. They stop them being who they are just to be part of the group. And I think that's the sad thing. But let's consider the topic of the day, digital wellbeing. And in the morning's keynote speech, I kind of said that there's something not quite right with the way that we're working. I made that statement. And as a technologist, what do you think about broadly technology helping or hindering us at the moment? Where do you sit on this? If indeed you can sit on my side.
I love tech. So as far as I'm concerned, it helps me, but I do see it hindering other people. So there are very large groups of people, especially neurodiverse. Now, I consider myself to be neurodiverse. I have dyslexia and not officially diagnosed, but definitely ADHD. Because my mind can go in different directions, and now I need to bring myself back onto this conversation. But a lot of people I find that are neurospicy, if it's okay to use that description, don't like to have their cameras on. They don't like that they can be interrupted, for example. And I do find that when you find you've got technologists, there's a lot of people who have autism or neurodiversity in different kind of spectrums. And so you walk into the office nowadays, and a lot of people will have a headset on,
Yeah.
listen to music, and it's really clear of, do not disturb me. I am working. If you interrupt me, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And you look at that and say, okay, technology could enable them to work from home. We're forcing them into the office because we've got some mandate from a policy that says we need to be in the office 2 days a week, and people come into the office to close themselves off again and avoid having conversations. And so technology is great in some places and then terrible for some people in other places. And that leads on to the topic of AI.
Yeah. And oh, are we going there so
I
soon?
don't know. Did you
Well,
want to?
just before we go, because I absolutely am willing to go there. You know how cautious I am about delving into AI conversations. But this actually brings up quite an interesting point for me, where I don't think it's recognized enough that we now have two separate selves that we have to manage in a day.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
our digital selves and we have our physical selves. And although I can remove myself from my digital self in many ways, like literally put down the laptop, close that down, I
Mm,
can't get rid of my physical self. And I'm not entirely sure that they're doing each other any favors.
yep.
Now, what I found interesting, what you were saying, isn't it fascinating how you can see when people try and mitigate being in an open plan office?
Yes.
Like the workplace moved all of a sudden to this idea that we want to be collaborative, everyone's out in the open, we've got to get rid of the hierarchy, shoved them
Yep.
all in an open plan office, and then we build stuff around us, put our headphones and go like, don't look at anyone. It's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? It's crazy how we've adapted through the physical workspace. What about you? Do you work in a home office, corporate office?
Yes.
Where do you work?
This one right here.
Beautiful.
I love to get out and about and meet people, but largely I work from home, as does my husband. Interestingly enough, I was about 15 years ago an absolute staunch, it has to be in the office. We're going in the office. I didn't care if it was snowing, raining, the world could be crumbling apart. I would be in the office. But my husband got ill, and that changed a lot, especially when I was pregnant with my daughter, which was 11 years ago. And he was suicidally depressed, and I
Wow.
had to get home and stop him from killing himself.
Right.
Now, that changes your perspective on where you want to work, how you want to work. And so I changed a lot from then. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not working more than X distance away, because
Right.
trying to have a 30-minute journey home in a rush when you're 7 months pregnant, thinking, am I going to find a dead husband?
Yeah.
It was horrible. And
Yeah.
everybody has got different things that impact them, completely different things. And even like I went through early menopause a couple of years ago, the office didn't have working air conditioning at certain
Right.
points during the day. And for me, that was terrifying because
Yeah.
I didn't want to just sweat through.
I am
Um,
hard relating to this right now. You have no
yeah,
idea how hot it is in here, and I'm absolutely uncomfortable. And the pressure that it puts on you, and the cognitive load that it increases because of it is
oh,
mad. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
no, I mean, I had to get air conditioning at home. It is, I mean, partly for my husband's condition, but partly for me at the moment, it is a godsend.
Yeah.
And it just makes a difference. I've seen so many reasonable reasons why people want to work from home, particularly since COVID. It has made such a very binary difference between people. People judge if you want to work from home all the time. People judge if you want to be in the office all the time. And it's another digital separation that we have found, because there's nothing worse than going into an office to have a full day of meetings online. And that's what I
Yeah.
was doing in
Yeah.
like my corporate jobs, is going in to have a meeting. I had a team out in Phoenix. Now,
Right.
I mean, did it matter if I was in at my home or if I was in the office? No, because beyond 6 o'clock in the evening, all my meetings were going to be online. But I've been in the office, so I had to stay there to finish it all off. So
That's another mad thing, isn't it? So many times we move physical spaces
Yeah.
into the office just for us to actually present ourselves to our work digitally through Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, Slack, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got a little bit of an issue
Mm.
because I don't move anywhere. And
Yeah.
this has really damned my health. Like I can't sugarcoat this.
No,
Desk bunnies are not okay.
no, they're not.
There's got to be a sweet spot, surely.
I don't know. I just feel like I need somebody to come in and poke me every 10 minutes and just go, move. And then, I thought that's what my dog would do. But no,
Ah,
he doesn't come and visit me in my office. And I could move if
oh.
he did that. Yeah.
But it is strange. Now we've got to merge these physical and digital lives, and I want to move that into an area that you've got strong opinions and feelings about, and certainly have been you've had some very clear messaging around, and that's networking and networks. Let's
Yeah.
move into that. I'm not avoiding the AI conversation in any way,
Okay.
shape, or form. We're getting
Let's
there.
see where we get
We're
to
getting
it.
there. But this idea that we have our digital and physical selves, well, that's had an impact on how we work with our networks now. And I know that you've got experience in this. Tell me your thoughts on the network.
So I am a very big fan of networking. I don't care what job you do, where you are.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is absolutely vital to have a network, not just for your sake, for other people's sake, so that you can
Interesting.
share your experience with them. I do a lot of mentoring, and largely it is online. And I never used to like to just set a meeting in to have a chat, but that's all I seem to do. And those casual chats always
Yeah.
turn into, what are we going to do next? How are we going to have this conversation? And most of the people that I am now working with, especially sort of founders and small businesses, there's no point in me or them traveling to meet for a
Yeah.
30-minute discussion for me to then go, oh, actually, no, I can't do anything to help you. However, I did have a client of mine travel for a couple of hours to come join me in my house, mainly because I had air conditioning. I think that was the reason he
That
chose
would
to
get
come
me
to me.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he came over, and it was such a good day, and took him out for lunch, caught up. And there's something about having that authentic friendship in person. And that's how you and I met.
I
We would
know. We got to
never
tell
have
that
met if we
story.
didn't attend the conference together.
Yeah, exactly. So we were at the Evolve conference in Brighton, which is
Yeah.
the big technology conference outside of London. Brighton's absolutely saying, no, tech is with us. We own it now. So both of us went off, and we ended up in a roundtable session, didn't we?
Yeah.
Talking about AI. It's like
Yes.
we won't be able to avoid this.
No,
I
no,
can
no,
see the
no.
conversation just edging towards it. And the roundtable was actually pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes.
I thought that there
It
were
was
some
good.
really,
But the
interesting
problem was you
points.
were on the other table, and every single time you said something, I thought, that is something I want to talk about too. So yeah, it was really good to meet with other people from completely different backgrounds. And I found that most of my connections have come from when I have gone out and met with people. So about 3 weeks previous, I'd gone to London Tech Week
Yeah,
in Olympia. Cool, that's another scale.
I
But
was
I
there
met a
too.
lot of
It
people
was
there.
different scale, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Absolutely different scale.
yeah.
But yeah, it was so funny because I don't know what side of the fence I fall on. I'm like, absolutely in-person connection, key.
Yes.
But my network wouldn't be what it is now without the digital side of things. I've met incredible people over LinkedIn, incredible people by accident. I had an accident this morning, a moment of serendipity where I tagged you into the LinkedIn post or whatever I did,
Yeah.
but it wasn't you.
No,
I tagged the wrong person,
yeah, another
Samantha
Samantha.
Harwood. I know, who is glorious as well. And now
She's
she
added me
said,
as a connection. So now, just through an accident, I'm definitely going to be chatting to her.
and she and I are going to do an interview this week as well. So So it's funny, isn't it? It's not about having one or the other, or one being better than the other. It's literally what you do with it, and how you manage it. Now, I am aware, I'm very much aware that I really love meeting people. I am an extrovert in the sense that I gain energy around people. And so sometimes I won't know when that's too much, and it's kind of draining my battery to be online, and that's something I've had to get used to. Do you have any issues with, I mean, it's the classic screen time type conversation, isn't it?
Yes. Well, interestingly enough, I'm an introvert. Nobody ever believes me, because I back in the year 2000, just before COVID-19 hit, I said to myself, okay, I am struggling with this whole introverted thing. I am going to say yes to every speaking or extroverted opportunity. COVID hit. I had a training course that I was doing, and it's called I Am Remarkable, which is, if you ever get the chance to do it, such an amazing workshop, 90 minutes. Google set it up. It's now with a charity called Remarkability. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to train it wherever I can, and ended up training it to 1,000 people off my own back. And I found that there are situations where we gain energy from it. For me, I love empowering people, but put me in a situation where I'm trying to make small talk with somebody.
Okay.
Oh, so it depends. And I was talking to somebody today about this, like, where do I find my energy from and where don't I find my energy from? I hate parties or let's just get together and chat as an old friend. Can't stand it whatsoever. But give me a business opportunity where it's complicated, or I don't know where it's going, or I'm being thrown in at the deep end. I find that great. And other introverts look at me and go, what? That's just ridiculous. You can't be an introvert. And well, I am.
I think there's a huge misunderstanding over introversion and extroversion.
Absolutely.
So many people assume that I can't benefit from the traditionally introverted things. I love sitting in the woods. I mean, I will happily chat to a tree quietly, or maybe not out loud, but I can spend time with myself and be very, very happy. And I still need to recharge like everyone else does. But I do feel confident about the like the definition that I've settled with is just what tops you up, what fills up your battery. And I'm finding more and more that it is people. Being around people fills up a battery. And I know so many people are like, oh, that, but no, I like them, but they do not fill my battery. They empty my battery. My social battery is dead. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. I wish I had one of those badges that could just scale it. But I love talking to a large group of people. Like, that doesn't drain me. It makes me engaged. So I'd much rather do that than have a one-to-one conversation with a person that I haven't seen in 20 years, where I don't know where I'm taking that conversation. And that can really impact me. And knowing yourself and your personal brand and what gives you energy, what brings you joy, I think really helps. And this is what I've learnt in my company, is how I want to engage digitally is very much impacted by I know me now. I don't think enough people know themselves to go, that is good for me, that is not. This works, this is where my strengths are, that is not. And being willing to say, no, I can't do that, or yes, actually, I'm going to do that, but it scares me. Again, back to your authenticity.
That's a very good point. I hadn't really thought about it that much, because the angle that I take more often than not is that it's the systems that we are living within that generally cause the friction. But of course, it does come down to agency and free choice. You can decide what your boundaries are and how you will authentically decide to use your energy, I guess. I don't even know if that sentence made sense, but it's made sense as it came out. No, that's a really interesting point. I'm going to think about that.
Same with anything you're doing as work. I used to hate doing certain things, but when I changed how I thought of it, so I love being creative. And I've had people say, oh yeah, but you've been an architect you've done product management, you've done coding. How is that creative? It's like, well, with coding, I created
Let me
programs.
ask.
With architecture, I created solution. With product management, I created products. Somebody who doesn't like to be creative would be take a different angle on it.
Yeah.
But the second the creativity went, the second that my autonomy went, and somebody said, no, that is not the way you're going to do this. You have to do it this way. You took away my creativity, and then it's draining. The same thing has two sides to it.
100%.
And it's the wellness side of things. Okay, what drains me? And I've had breakdowns in the past where really mentally affected by things. And I look back at it and go, yeah, that was when people told me, thanks very much for doing that. But we don't need that anymore, or you're not doing it that way. And it's like, excuse me, I created that.
You know what you've done though? You have brought us beautifully, I can't ignore it now, back to AI, because of course what AI does is it produces outputs. That is the whole point of it. It creates, it absolutely creates. But talk about complex feelings. I have such complex feelings about AI. You know, I love tech. That's fine. The thing, the way that tech has, for example, opened up access to people with disabilities. I mean, I have no right to an opinion. Like, it is absolutely phenomenal what assistive technology can do at the moment. So, you know, I back off there. But I'm just, I don't know how to feel about AI. It's complex for sure. Whereas I know you train it, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Where do you sit on this? Help clarify some things for me, okay? Like, is AI going to be our salvation, or is it going to be our doom? You know, I've been dramatic here. I know it's
doom. All I want to do is like play the Terminator music in the background. Dum, 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 dum.
That's kind of where I'm at now.
I think a lot of fear comes from the fact that so many like filmmakers have taken AI and created this negative layer. It's going to destroy the world. There's very few positive films. And I think a lot of things are about a positive mental attitude. As far as I'm concerned, the AIs that I have been training, and I've been working with larger companies who basically offer specialist training. And then I've said, okay, my expertise is in software, it's in architecture, and in product and program. So I go in and basically receive a scenario, and then I provide feedback and I teach it based upon my knowledge.
So you're the subject matter expert that actually brings the context to the prompt.
Exactly. And there's so many of those things out there. And so you can dip in and dip out of it, which is what I love. But trust me, the AIs that I am training are definitely not taking over the world, but they can make a brilliant PowerPoint presentation now. And a spreadsheet. I mean, you've never seen anything, but human beings have always been afraid of when new tech comes along. There's always, oh my gosh, social media is going to destroy the world, you know, and it goes all the way back when they first created like calculators that kids could take into school. They had massive riots from teachers. Riots is the wrong word, but you know, they protested against it. They said kids will never be able to do mental arithmetic if we bring calculators.
I remember the clip of that teacher. I think it was in the 70s. I'm not sure. Could have been the 60s. Could have been the 80s. Who knows? But who was absolutely adamant that this was the end. That was absolutely the end of standards. And in some ways, for mental arithmetic, it was the end of standards, but it wasn't the end of maths. It wasn't the end of being able to solve problems. And it certainly wasn't the end of people being able to thrive. Somehow we're still managing that with calculators. But I think the thing that drives me nuts is the history around AI and how closely it is intertwined with things that we're supposed to fear. So it's so closely intertwined with science fiction, because the name came out of science fiction. It's an umbrella term that covers so many different technologies. So half the time you've no idea what anyone's talking about. So which bit of AI are we talking about here? But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be the end of humanity. It's just that we're going to need somebody who has the power within an organization to have a plan.
Yes. Don't just do AI. I keep on
Just
hearing the
do.
same thing. AI is so good, let's just do it. And then hiring a team to be able to implement an AI solution when that's not the right solution. And I have a very strong product background. And I think you always need to start with what is the problem?
Yeah.
And then is AI the right solution? And too many times AI is not the right solution, but people say we're going to do it because that's the buzzword, or that makes us more attractive, or that makes, we can say, oh, it's driven by AI. And actually, it's just another piece of technology, just like a phone is a piece of technology. Quantum, as it comes up over the next few years, is just another piece of technology. The solution should not be driven by the desire to achieve the solution. We need to always look at what is the actual problem and not overcomplicate it. AI is not always the solution, but it's created some really good meals for me.
Yeah. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been enjoying it. There's no doubt that I'm able to achieve so much more in making all of my ideas cohesive, to make sure that it has a strong action plan. It's been a personal productivity tool for me that I can't deny has had incredible value.
Massive.
But I'm concerned, very, very concerned about this whole narrative about it being inevitable, as in get on or you will be left behind. That worries me because I know who we're talking about there. I know the groups of people who will be left behind. So I do get very upset about the inevitability narrative. I had a wonderful experience last week in London where the work experience students that you very kindly did a brilliant workshop with, I took them into London and we went to the launch of the AI Resist List. Now, the AI Resist List is a whole launch of basically a database of organizations that have chosen to be very intentional and purposeful about AI. Now, it's really, really broad. And I think I was so impressed with that approach. Let's be fully intentional that this is going to solve a problem.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's just going to be a series of trade-offs. I solve a problem and then I create a problem.
Yes.
And
yes,
the mind boggles. But have you had the same experience as I have, where I've created so much output with AI, really quite a lot, and I know that to do my due diligence, I then have to check that output and make sure that I'm putting the effort in, basically, to not just say give me that and then I use it. It's a full process. I mean, it is the job now.
Yes, but that's the real skill there, is discernment.
Good.
And I think that we as human beings haven't been really, and especially in the technology industry, really discerning about what it is you take in. Now, loads of twaddle can come out of AI, and you have to be discerning enough and have enough knowledge about your own area to go, actually, that's rubbish. And I was talking to somebody about with coding, do we really need developers anymore? Yes, we do, but you need discerning developers. It's a slightly different skill. It's about learning, if you are vibe coding with AI, to co-create. You need to know, like, what is it producing? Is it actually good? How good is that quality? And it changes that perspective on how you're doing things. Discernment is something that, oh my gosh, is something that I've really increased in skills. And also knowing how to write a good prompt.
Ask
the right questions. That is so much more. And that's something that came from that roundtable we had, is how do you know which questions to ask? Actually, that is a really good point. Was I ever asking the right questions? Now I'm very conscious of it.
Yeah, and that is a very important thing to think about before we even think about agentic AI, this idea that autonomous tasks can take place. So while I'm working with a chatbot, it produces whatever I ask for. But when we get our agents working for us, then they can actually start doing some tasks for us, sending off the emails, checking your invoices. That's the next step. I know I'm over explaining that, but just in case for viewers. And it's so important that you don't move in the wrong direction. Do you remember in the roundtable when I said it's all very good and well obsessing about making the boat go faster? I get that. Loved the book, loved the concept. But if your boat's going in the wrong direction,
yes,
we're in trouble.
Or you have a bunch of AIs that are basically trained monkeys. Eventually, you will end up writing a Shakespearean play. I think that's the analogy that's used. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you should have them answering the phones if they haven't been trained, because they would have a very polite conversation, do totally the wrong thing.
We didn't need Romeo and Juliet. We wanted to know when our broadband was going to get installed.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just about solving problems. I couldn't agree with you more. Now, I do want to get your opinion on another thing, though. So, because I'm very much enjoying this, and I know that we've only got 5 minutes left, but I want to talk about the problems that we have with AI being an amplifier. I think we're all in agreement that if you know what good looks like, then AI is just wonderful for you because it will produce those outputs. You assess it, you know what good is, and you're away. So what that means is that highly skilled people are going to feel the benefits. They're going to be accelerated by AI. What does that do for the people who haven't yet acquired those skills?
I think it's about curiosity, and I think that everybody needs to be curious about their own industry. For those people who haven't taken on AI and they work in tech, I would ask why you haven't explored it yet.
Okay.
Because if there's something new and exciting that's come along, my first thing is, oh, tell me more. And that's actually a really important thing. Tech changes, programming language changes, everything changes. And I saw exactly the same thing happen with mainframe computers, because I started off my career 20 years ago at Lloyd's Banking Group. And I was a mainframe programmer. I'd come from university, all these fresh new languages, and I'd gone onto the mainframe. And everyone was like, mainframe is dead. So people who just went, no, it's not, I don't want to learn anything else, I'm not going to learn anything else, weren't even curious about the new tech that was coming along, and were the ones who found themselves in the situation of, well, what is my next job? And it wasn't because they didn't have the opportunity to learn, it's because they didn't choose to. Now, I still think it is important that you choose what you choose to do, but surely there is some curiosity around that.
And I'd like to add into that the constraints that a system can put around you. So if you don't belong to a curious organization, if that's not a value, and you don't have the psychological or even physical safety to be curious, then of course that's going to have a huge effect on your ability and your capability. So I do think it's down to organizations as well as the individual.
Yes. And leaders, it's really important to encourage teams. You want to have a team that is the most useful. But I think if you're choosing not to use AI, just like people have chosen not to do other things, there's still a job for people. I think when people lose their jobs because they are not trained in that area, I do think that's a bad excuse by organizations, because it's not the case. It's the same as when we had Agile come along. Have you been in an Agile team yet? Are you Agile? And it's like, well, you introduced it 2 weeks ago. So how exactly was I going to get there in those 2 weeks?
And don't get me started on how badly Agile can be done in the most agile aggressive organizations. It's one
I
of these things
definitely
that
shouldn't talk about that. I think I'll be getting a few organizations in trouble.
no, we won't dig in deep on that one, but we know what we're talking about. But as with anything, there's nuance to it, there's skill to be built. And my only concern is that if the organization or if leadership hammers home the point that we just have to use it, they're missing the point entirely. It's really one of those opportunities that we have to acknowledge the nuance. AI could even help you skill up your people. I mean, there's opportunities every step of the way, but we don't want to just get bogged down in, if you don't get on board, you're off ski. I don't want the fear. The fear's bugging me.
It is. And fear then prevents you from wanting to actually explore. When I first started using AI, it was for personal reasons, because somebody said it could write a hilarious poem for somebody.
Nice.
And I just remember thinking, oh, I don't know what this thing is. Okay, ChatGPT, weird name. What is that all about? Just started using it, and I think I wrote a poem for my mother for Mother's Day, and was just like, whoa, that's incredible.
That's so cool.
It's
I
just,
think the first thing I ever did was interview it. I thought, right, because I love a question. So I interviewed it, and I found it fascinating. And one of the funniest things that I will recall to my children and my grandchildren is the moment when I realized how sycophantic chatbots are. That moment where you're like, oh, this is amazing, I'm amazing. And then you suddenly realize, oh no, it's programmed in. I need to be careful about this.
Yes. Try and ask it. I often will ask it to do, oh, tell me what's good about this. And then I'll get a new chat open with it.
Yeah.
And then go, tell me what's bad about this. Oh, it can find all the bad things that it definitely would not have found. And there's a lot of people online who keep on having those conversations. Yeah, because it's designed to always agree with you, because it's a people pleaser, basically.
Exactly. It feels like a watershed moment, or like a real point on the map when you suddenly realize you must, or no, you have to, but it's really beneficial to turn your AI chatbot into your critic. Like, you can take it. You could absolutely take it. And now expressively asking for all the weaknesses gives you insight that takes you such a long time otherwise. It can be done.
Particularly if you say that somebody else wrote this and I'm not sure about it, it will really, really tear it apart. Nothing to do with you.
I've recently learnt the expression red team review. That apparently is the harshest you can get. The red team review. Yeah, I don't know why. But I don't know. I think that that I'm still very, very cautious about jumping straight into a new technology when we still have difficult relationships with the technology that we already have. I think one of the things I'm finding, and one of the things that happens an awful lot in the way that we support our clients, is that it's almost too much tech.
Yes. Yeah. And the tech debt, I mean, that has been one large part of my career, is managing technology migrations.
Yeah.
And I have been involved in some really big ones.
Yeah.
And the change that you need to make, but then the fact that there's always this joke of we never actually switched off the old tech button. Like, I remember leaving things behind where it's just like the smallest amount, but we just never moved it. And you go, but then they're having to maintain that thing at millions of pounds a year. And everybody who used to work on it is either retired or dead, because some of the tech that I was using even like 20 years ago was 40 years old, which must be at least 60 years old now. And I think, oh my gosh, we were supposed to be switching it off back then, but we never did, because old tech is sticky and tech debt just builds up.
And you would be forgiven for thinking the way that media would have you believe that old tech doesn't exist anymore. I mean, why aren't we talking about this? Like, is everybody ashamed?
It definitely does.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely does. And an awful lot of the job is trying to get all of this technology to behave well together. It's herding cats.
Yes.
I mean, they have lives of their own and they will go in the direction that they want, but they still want to be fed and they still every now and then want to come and get attention from you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, always. But the thing is, the longer the tech has been in, the more sort of self-reliant it becomes, which makes it harder to get
Yeah.
rid of.
Yeah.
And I still remember somebody telling me about, I'm not going to mention the company, but they had a computer in the corner and you did not switch that computer off. And one day somebody did. And the next day, every single payment failed. And the answer was that this computer, the only job it had was to tell you it was the next day.
I'm sorry.
So this massive monolithic system that was powered, like this literally just went, triggers once a day, it's the next day. What was the solution in the end? They switched the thing back on again. They didn't change the system to actually automatically think it's the next day. They just went back to the old solution. Because all the payments failed because they went, well, that's not the next day yet. There are so many of those workarounds that trying to unpick them can cost millions of pounds. You go, well, do we want to do something new? Well, let's do AI. We won't solve this old problem. Let's do something new.
Yes, and
it does. It feels like we pile it on and on and on.
Yeah, exactly. And your tech stack has then got a layer of artificial intelligence on the top of it. And you wonder why it's not the wonderful savior that you thought it was going to be. Yeah.
No tech is going to be a savior.
No, well, we can't leave on that. We can't leave on that because I feel like we're like, oh, it's just we've got to leave on a nice positive note.
That's true.
So I know that we are both very much tech positive people. What can we share with the network of people who have come here for digital well-being? What can we share with them that is positive news from what we know of technology? Is it quantum?
I love quantum, and I'll be with you on Friday. I'm just so excited.
See what I did there?
Coming up, but
well, it appears that I have lost you a little bit, but I'm sure you'll come back again. So what I'll fill in while we're here, and I asked the question as to whether quantum was the solution and the answer to everything, mainly because I'm sitting up for the session that we're going to be doing on Friday, where Samantha's going to walk us through quantum computing and as a product, and talk about what effect it's going to have on our future digital lives, if any. So I'm really looking forward to that session. And I fully encourage you to all come along and watch it. But I can see that we've got a problem with the video feed. Perfect timing.
Was it?
Yeah, that was perfect timing. I was literally just saying that Friday, quantum computing, I segued into that one. But yeah, tell me what your thoughts are. What positivity can we give?
I think it's when we start bringing in other aspects rather than just saying, okay, technology is just this. With quantum, you're bringing in the physics and some hardware that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But AI, you're bringing a lot of social side of things in as well, and understanding of how it works and the whole generational learning and things like that. I love teaching it, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I just try and see technology, it's there to facilitate things. It's not the only thing that we should be focusing on. I use it to help me. It's not running my life, and it shouldn't run anybody's life. I'm still a human being, and knowing myself and how I interact with technology really helps with my digital well-being.
Yeah, indeed. And I think the really positive view that we could take is any workplace that we have designed, we can redesign. And any work process, anything that we have done and built as people can be redesigned. Once again, I've lost you. That's okay. These things happen. So what I'm going to do is say, are you back?
Am I back?
Kind of, yeah. I think you are. I mean, you're just a little blurry, but still looking gorgeous.
Oh
So
no. I
completely
literally
counts.
had no problems with my internet. And so, technology is not always perfect. Maybe
I
that's a
think
good
the
way.
Yeah, it's not always perfect, but neither are we. And so we crack on, right? We just get on with it. It's how it works. Well, I have taken up all of your time, and all of our time in this session, but thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was really, really nice to talk about such a broad array of subjects, but also really it pinpoints back to our experience just existing with technology, from a technical background. Um, so thank you so much. And what we'll do is we will upload this to YouTube imminently, any second now, and I'll put contact details for you and details about the work that you do down at the bottom so people can get in touch. Highly recommend it. Absolutely link in. And what are your other socials? Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm a LinkedIn, almost completely LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's where it's at.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you
With a little
otherwise.
bit of cheeky TikTok, but
I,
that's mainly my dog.
Excellent. I'll
He's
see you
very
there.
enthusiastic.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.